Hey, good morning, Jacques. How are you?
I'm doing outstanding. I'm talking to Garth Brooks.
Entering his second year as the LSU head football coach.
It was the only way I could get a foot in the door.
Joined by the icon, Kim Mulkey. Hey, Coach, great to see you.
Well, the man sitting with me today needs no introduction. 2 national championships in 3 years. LSU head baseball coach Jay Johnson. I know you're crazy running. Thanks for giving us some time today.
Yeah, thanks, Jock. Good to see you.
Great to see you. Well, first off, congratulations.
Thank you.
There are a few things in this state that make so many people happy than LSU athletics and national championship LSU athletics.
Yes, and I deeply appreciate the support, the appreciation. Being in Omaha, I believe I may have said this to you before, it's like having the box stacked on top of each other 3 times. And that was the case when we were lined up for the national anthem on Sunday, and they finish it with the home of the Tigers. The hair on the back of my neck stood up, and I was like, we're winning today.
Yeah. Well, Jared Jones says that's his favorite part.
No doubt.
Listen to national and the land, home of the Tigers. Everyone shouts. And
100%.
When you're celebrating the national championship, and I'm looking up, I'm like, this is just like the Super Regional against West Virginia, except more people.
100%. And, it's really hard at the pace that things move, all year, even in Omaha. But I just kind of looked up at the stands after we were on the field, and it clinched, and everybody's hugging each other, and our winning music's playing, and everybody's singing along, and everybody's smiling. That's a moment I won't forget the rest of my life. Yeah,
and your AD, Scott Woodward, he said that you crushed the interview 4 years ago. There was no doubt who was the guy for the job. He's hired Kim Mulkey as well, who's delivered a national championship. Gymnastics has a national championship in recent memory. Track and field as well. A lot of winning at LSU, and Scott Woodward is the leader of that.
No doubt about it. He's the perfect athletic director, blend of support while allowing you to do your job. And he's another guy that understands the dynamic of this, that understands that maybe it's not as easy as it looks, from the outside. And I've been honored to work for him, and very thankful for this opportunity. Obviously changed my life, and obviously want to deliver for him, for the state of Louisiana, and obviously LSU.
A great celebration at the box. The Bertmans were there. I thought you did a very good job of acknowledging Skip and also acknowledging his late wife, Sandy. That's a delicate dance where everyone's in a celebratory mood, but it's the right thing to do to acknowledge, hey, somebody that very much should be acknowledged.
Yeah, only thing to do, really. And seems like just yesterday was the night before we opened SEC play against Missouri was the night she passed. And Coach has been unbelievable to me. It's honestly been the best part of this job for me, is the relationship that I have with him. And Miss Sandy was the same way with me and my wife, and their family, and very close to us now. And I thought it was cool. Like, we could honor her with a national championship. That's so hard to do, but I believe we had her looking down from the sky, a little bit of angel helping us along the way.
That's awesome. And Skip, you grew up a fan
Big time.
of him.
Yes.
Bill Franques was talking about, Skip was the AD who hired Paul Maneri, and the dynamic was different there. With you, it's like, this is one of my heroes, and I get to talk to him every day. Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah, it is unbelievable. Going to the house and sitting at the kitchen table, and he'll always have his roster open, and we'll literally go down every player. How are they doing? What's going on with them? What do I think? And it'll round into some story from the past, and a lot of them are still relevant from today. And to be supported the way he has supported me and us, and the care level he has for the program is unreal, because none of this would be here without Coach Bertman.
You joked too. You said before the game, he said, this is how we're going to celebrate and whatnot. I was like, Coach, we need to win the game first here.
Yeah, and I love that about him. Like, I'm in the office in the stadium, in the locker room, and I got charts everywhere, and I'm looking through scenarios, and he just kind of comes around the corner, and I knew he was coming, but it kind of hit me again. And then it's shaking hands and hugs, and he's like, listen, this is how it's going to go. I'm going to come down on the field, and I'm going to hug you. And I was like, this team that we're playing, they hadn't lost in 2 months until last night. So, but there was another thing about it when he showed up. It's like, this guy's bringing his magic into the ballpark.
Yeah. Real quick, where were you when Warren Morris hit the home run almost 30 years ago?
Yeah, I definitely know exactly where I was, sitting on a couch in the West Coast time. I want to say it was maybe like 1 or 1:30 in the afternoon. and getting ready to go play a summer ball game that night, at like 6 or 7 p.m. And I remember thinking, like, man, it's a lot cooler to be Warren Morris than Jay Johnson right now.
Well, and in talking to your dad real quick as well, I'm sure you feel so blessed that he's here to celebrate this all with you. He told me that you were not only a 1,000-yard rusher, but also a 1,000-yard receiver in the same year. Then they changed the offense, and so you didn't catch as many passes as a senior. Is that right?
That's right. We shifted it, and I got to run behind bigger linemen and better plays. So it was fun to do both, kind of Christian McCaffrey style, but I liked the getting the more carries and running behind the big guys.
He showed me the picture of you, too. I guess you were 4 or 5, putting the gear on, and sure enough, the shirt said Tigers on it, which I know is a pretty popular mascot, but still, it was fitting.
Yes, yeah, he's a proud dad, and
Yeah.
it is awesome to share it with him. And I think I said this to you on the field, like that's where I learned how to win and learned what the model of a coach was, and got a real head start on this thing because he was so quality at what he did.
And your brother was there as well.
Yes, yeah, special dude, competitor. It was really cool in the post game. He went into the press conference with me up to the set on the SEC Network and rode the bus back for us. And just because we've done it twice in 3 years, I don't take it for granted, and those are things I'll never forget about those moments the rest of my life.
Quick bouquet to the master of ceremonies the other night, Bill Franques. This guy is a walking computer. Like, encyclopedia is an outdated term these days, but he sat there yesterday, tells stories. He remembers the opponent's names, the batting order, what happened, the pitch count, the whatever. I mean, he's not up there with a teleprompter doing this thing. It's all right here.
Right.
And as you know, he does like 15 jobs over there, from the PA announcing to typing up the recap of the game to email to the media. Real quick, he is the Skip Bertman of SIDs. I don't know who's going to try to come in and replace this guy, but they're going to have a hard job.
Yeah, I call him John Wooden of SIDs because he's closer to 10 championships than 5.
That's right.
No, he's become a great friend too, and there is nobody that I trust more, rely on more. It's been really awesome to partner with him. And I could tell from the day I got here and handling the transition and the media and the opening press conference and all that, this is a guy that genuinely loves LSU baseball that's a phenomenal human being. And I don't think he gets nearly enough credit for the program. He's unbelievable on the mic, on the PA, on the games, just a consummate professional, and has become a really good friend.
We always call him the voice of God, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls,
Yes.
It's not going to, we won't think about that day. He told me that both you and his dad said you cannot retire. And
yes, I have said that to him several times, and he deserves to do exactly whatever he wants to do, and would support him in it no matter what. I love having him around our program. He does a great job with our players. He's such a professional. Nothing that comes off as anything but full class, full respect, first class. And a lot of that is due to Bill's work.
There's so much I want to reflect with you on, but just in this moment right now, I guess it's a balancing act between celebrating and every great accomplishment should lead to the next opportunity on the recruiting trail. Strike while the iron's hot, all those things. How is that going?
A little crazy. I did, as I just said, when we were on the field in Omaha, like really try to breathe in that moment in time and life to really, really appreciate it. And it was a very different experience this year because when we won the last one, it was 18-4 in the 9th inning, and it was inevitable. This one, the tying run was at the plate. I got 2 guys up in the bullpen. I'm looking at the defense, thinking about scenarios. If they get back to the top of the order, am I going to let the 2-hole guy see him for a second time and then double play? And we're national champions, and everybody went nuts. And the celebration the other night was awesome. The plane ride home, all of those things were very, very special. And then there's just the way that it is, they don't want to sound too much like Bill Belichick. If you win the Super Bowl, you're 6 months or 6 weeks behind planning for next year. But it has a little bit of that feel to it. So you got to do the job, and that's what we're doing. And then there's pockets of time, like usually when I get on an airplane and go recruiting, I'll just throw my headphones in, I'll put my phone out, and I'll watch highlights of the World Series just to just to kind of memorialize it.
Yeah. Well, the stories of Nick Saban winning the title here in 2003 are pretty legendary. Coach is trying to go to Bourbon Street. I don't know where you're going. We've got a meeting upstairs in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
This is just right after the game. We got to catch up on our recruiting and so forth. And I think one of the first things he said in the post-game press conference is, I'm already thinking about how are we going to do this next year.
Yeah.
So, and I know you've read a lot about him and the way he approaches things and everything.
And that's, I look at the year as a 9-inning year. And we're in the first inning we're in the top of the first inning right now, and the nature of it's changed with the transfer portal, the Major League Baseball draft. We have a ton of players that are going to be involved in that and have to make decisions about what they're going to do. It's all part of it, and it's all worth it when you get a chance to experience Omaha. And so you have to do a good job to give yourself a chance to do that again.
I don't want to talk very much about NIL, but just really quick, it just seems like in this new era with Paul Skeens coming over, Tommy White, the guys you've added in recent memory, you guys are on top of this. You feel adequately supported in that regard?
I don't know what everybody else does or is doing. I'm thankful for the support that we have. I think what's hard about that is I don't really know what's out there, what's true. Certainly most of the things I hear about us are not true. When you look at those two that you just mentioned, Tommy White coming here had nothing to do with NIL. It had to do with I was going to play him at third base no matter what. With Paul, it was because he could develop here to become ultimately what he's become. And that's why he chose to come here. And so for us, the selling point is still LSU. It's still training ground for professional baseball and living out those dreams. So I think there's a lot of misnomers out there. So I don't really even know how to comment on it, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, they see people come here, and maybe they don't. I mean, we want to believe that they come here for the magic of Ellick Box Stadium, Warren Morris, the great stories, Ryan Terrio sliding home in 2000, all this great stuff, Skip Bertman. But, people wonder how much is bidding war going on and all that stuff.
Well, the right ones do. And when you have 2 national championships in 3 years, 150 wins in 3 years, it means we've gotten a lot of the right guys. And I feel that way about a lot of these guys that we even brought in for 1 year this year. Luis Hernandez, what a godsend. Zach Cowan, Danny Dickinson, Chris Stanfield. I could go on and on and on. Just absolutely the right guys that came here for the right reasons.
Let's talk about you being a leader. So this strikes me. You're playing UCLA in the World Series. The game gets halted, and people can say, well, the weather, it's the same for both teams. But in my opinion, you guys, if you wanted to, could have been griping and saying, well, we knocked their starting pitcher out of the game. Mm-hmm. Our pitcher is settling in. He just got burned. Why did we start a game when we knew a storm was coming in an hour and a half? They are kind of on the ropes. This saves them. They can go to bed, regroup. I mean, these are all the things that you could have talked. But in the postgame, you said, if I do any of that stuff, they feed onto it, built-in excuses, I guess, right?
100%.
So that's when you've got to be a leader and say, okay, deep down, I may not like some of this stuff, but we've got to make the most of it.
Yeah, I would have preferred to continue to play the game and finish the game and have Anthony go deeper into the game, but you never know what's around the corner for you. We had asked him to do a lot. He won the opening game of the regional, closed the last game of the regional, threw 100 pitches and grinded out a win in the super regional against West Virginia. That maybe having a 44-pitch outing turned out to be a blessing in disguise, to where if we had needed him on Wednesday to finish off Arkansas, we could have used him. Or he would be more rested for Game 2 of the finals, and he threw great. As I get older, I just try to be better at not worrying about things that I cannot control. And from there, I really believe if I want the players to be focused, poised, disciplined, I have to do the same things.
Yeah. You can have some fun with this. You're not going to lose a game for a very long time, Coach Johnson, and you haven't lost one in a very long time. There are people that go on social media when there's a weather delay and say, well, Jay has decided X, Y, Z, as if you're like some king sitting on top of a castle and you are dictating if there is going to be a delay in the game or not. So is there anything you'd like to share on that right now?
I don't think that could be further from the truth. I gave my opinion one time a long time ago that I would prefer not to start a game and stop it if we're only 90 minutes into it. I just don't think that's smart. And that's it. That's literally all I've done. And that was literally 3 years ago that happened. So, I think I'm just as happy winning at 1:17 a.m. as I am at 9 p.m. And where else would the fans stay? And they stay here, and I'm really appreciative for that.
Yeah, you can hear them through the TV and through the radio at all hours of the night. You did this against Tennessee, the Friday night.
That's right, Tennessee, Arkansas, Mississippi State twice.
Yeah. Though I'm sure you've seen the 117 AM T-shirts. And
somebody showed that to me. I thought that was awesome.
The end of the Arkansas game to reach the national championship. You talked about Luis Hernandez. Have you watched what it looked like on television?
I did watch that. As a matter of fact, that night they just keep replaying SportsCenter, and we were the opening thing on SportsCenter was that game and the result of that game. And I literally watched it 5 times in a row, almost in disbelief. And I had a play in left field there when I was at Arizona not go our way. And it was almost like, wow, that's where we got our payback 9 years later.
Well, it was almost like, I don't know how you feel, but it was almost like an optical illusion. I'm like, where's the ball? And then it's way over here.
Yeah.
It was bizarre to watch.
Yeah, it was interesting because where I was standing, you could see it kick off him, and I saw the whole thing clearly. And Steven was at first base, and I'm going like, man, I really hope he can see it, and he's going, and he doesn't slow down. And Coach Jordan did a good job, and this is the hit of the year. I mean, there was 2 hits of the year, Ethan Fry against Little Rock in a regional, and then Luis's hit right there.
Jared Jones delivers the game winner that night. This game is a cruel game. It's a brutal game. I have watched Alex Bregman over here, you name it. Dylan Cruz has gone through stretches where hits are hard to come by. Jared Jones 0 for 5 versus Arkansas, first game of the World Series, 5 strikeouts. You did some work with him over at Omaha in a practice. ESPN stole John Eads' video and posted it without courtesy. But he goes opposite way against UCLA, right? A 3-run bomb. The guy goes up. He misses it by inches. And then Jones in this one, a home run to give you the lead, right?
Yep.
And then the game-winning base knock.
Yeah, sorry, to tie, and then the game-winning hit.
Tie, yeah.
I'm really proud of him, and really all that was, like, it's almost one of those, good job by John, I guess, doing his job, but that you wish wasn't on camera, because it wasn't anything out of the ordinary. If we were at the box and playing that night, we would have been doing the same thing. Yeah. And I'm really proud of his ability to make adjustments, stay in the fight, keep competing. And he's so talented. Sometimes you just got to get him lined up a little better. That's all we did, and he took it from there.
Great kid.
The best. Yeah, the best. Like, it's really hard to even picture our team without him. His dad was joking with me in the hotel when we won. It's like, well, he's going to come back for his senior year and break the home run record now. I was like, I'm holding you to that. Yeah. Great career. It's just his time to go, but it was a great career here for Jared.
Shaved his mustache the other night, and he had on a little hat like he stepped off a ship or something.
Yeah, I didn't know what that was, but he can do whatever he wants in my book forever.
The series against Coastal Carolina, so no other place you'd rather be in the world than Omaha, but a crazy combination of heat and wind. It was 102 degrees on Friday, 102 degrees on Saturday. The wind was gusting. It did not give any relief from the heat either. It was strange.
It was. Matter of fact, and I wore sunscreen obviously during the games, and the wind was blowing that cinder block dirt everywhere. And then I came home, and it's like, man, I had dirt all over my face, and like literally like 3 days later, it was tough conditions. I'm really proud of our team though. Whether the wind was blowing in, wind was blowing out, big field, small field, they always found a way. And I thought we navigated that first game really well. 2 great pitchers, and Cade obviously, and Cam Flukie, and found a way to get one hit when we needed to, and that was enough. And there's other times where it's blown out, and you got to get in a slugfest, and this team was really good at finding a way. 2
years ago, I remember just pitchers pitching the games of their lives at the most important times, right? Ty Floyd, 17 strikeouts in that game 1.
Yep.
Thatcher Hurd in the pivotal game 3.
Yep.
And, if we go back to the beginning of the year and we're talking about Cade Anderson and Anthony Ianson, maybe the average fan doesn't know a whole lot about these people.
Right.
And now they go down as legends.
Legends. Absolute legends. I made a comment in the post game after game 1. Like, if you're going to talk about Joe Burrow a certain way, if you're going to talk about Paul Skeens a certain way, Cade Anderson belongs in that conversation based on the season that he had. And winning the championship, kind of secures that. And then there's just one guy every summer that's going to tip the scales whether you actually have a chance to compete for a national title or not, and it was Anthony Ianson for us this year, and I'm so proud of him, and was the exact pitcher we needed on this staff, and competitor, and such an easy guy to get behind, and it'll be fun to watch those guys pitch against each other in the major leagues someday.
I looked up UC San Diego, their stadium capacity is 500.
Yep, I can confirm that. Yeah.
So he comes here and you hand him the ball. This is LSU. This is the New York Yankees. Hey, we need to win a national championship today in front of 26,500, and goes out there and does the job.
Nobody else I would have rather have pitched that game. And like I said, I think we caught a break, especially being able to get through the winner's bracket undefeated. He got him a little bit of rest. I thought he was really sharp. The conditions of the ballpark, obviously. You know, he gave up the 1 homer, 2 homers actually. Other than that, he might have thrown a shutout too. And what a performance, what a competitor, what a pitcher, what a winner. And it's one of those guys you only had for 11 months, but you know, he's a forever champion and will go down as one of the all-time one-year greats here.
Last year's North Carolina finish was referenced a lot, and who knows, you might be that close away from 3 straight trips to Omaha, and your very first year here, like what you said, thank God McHale here flipping curveballs at 75 miles an hour, right? Yeah. If you would have won that regional, you would have hosted Ole Miss in the Super, right?
Correct.
So, I mean, maybe we're not all that far away from maybe 4 trips to Omaha in 4 years, but to come through like you did, and look, Jake Brown last year, that ball was hit pretty hard. A tough moment for him. He hit a home run in the game, right?
Yes, he did.
As a freshman.
Yes, he did.
And I had an LSU coach tell me after the game, like, man, you know, social media is not a good place to go. A lot of times, a lot of negativity there. Mm-hmm. But just could not believe, like, some of the backlash he took over that play. And for him now to be a national champion and fight through all that, I mean, those are the kind of things I'm sure make you proud as a coach. And
100%. And relative to him, he may be the best position player on our team. Maybe. You know what I mean? It would not surprise me if Jake has a long, successful major league career, as I think several will. Derek Carroll, his life is going to be as a major league player. I believe Danny Dickinson, Stephen Milam, Chris Stanfield, Jared, obviously, Luis. I believe all these guys can become major league players. But, you know, I'm really proud of Jake. And, you know, something we try to teach them, and it doesn't mean that those opinions aren't important, or maybe even some of them are right. I don't know. I don't delve into that a whole lot. But we just really try to focus on what's relevant. And what happens on the field is what's relevant. What happens on the internet, I hate to break everybody's heart, it's not really all that relevant.
Yeah. Well, there's certainly a few fans that I know, okay, I know who that person is, I know posting, and those are good people. But there's, for every 3 of those, there might be another 100 where I don't know who they are. There's no face on the post. If we're talking about X or whatever, you know, it's anonymous stuff.
I mean, I want to, we really hammer that with our players. Again, what is important. Now, the flip side of that is this. You cannot have 13,000 people at the box standing on their feet in the middle of a rally being completely disruptive like our fans were in the regional final and in the super regional without a little bit of that dynamic. And I'll take the 13,000 fans on their feet all the time.
Yeah. Well, I think when Skip got here, a couple of lines that I remember, LSU was the best of the worst. That's what he described mediocre as, or the worst of the best.
Yeah.
And he said the good news is nobody cares. The bad news is nobody cares.
Yeah.
And so
you'd way rather have passion than indifference, and it's what makes playing here really special, actually.
Now, on a humorous note, Jake Brown, is he intentionally funny, unintentionally funny, a little bit of both? I mean, does he say stuff like this all day?
He's got a great personality. That whole "we're not scholars" quote in the pre-finals press conference caught me off guard. I was like, what are you talking about? We had 32 guys get a 3.0 or better in the fall, and I think you were one of them. So, he's got a great personality, great team guy. You know, I want to give him a shout out for, you know, accepting the role that we had him in this year and playing it terrifically. And I think, you know, with him and Derek, you have 2 of the best outfielders in college baseball to start next year. It's a good starting place.
They cut to a 3-shot. They were tight on him. Then they cut, and you kind of dropped your head like this, and Ianson's on the other end laughing, and there's Jake right in the middle.
Yeah, yeah, he's great for comic relief.
He got a text, he said, from the academic advisor immediately.
That doesn't surprise me either, and that's why she's the best. Yeah,
yeah. And then I asked Jake, he's like, I was a 4.0, and now I'm a 3.6 or 3.7. So I was like, he was selling himself short.
Yes.
Josh said, Josh Pearson, I'm graduating, so I came here to be a scholar.
Yes,
so.
yeah. And then another guy very worth talking about. What a career Josh had. 2 national championships. It seemed like he was all tournament in every regional that we played in. Huge hits. Just super proud of him. The only 4-year player, and a guy that in my heart that will always go down as one of the most important players I've ever had.
And I've talked to you about this before, but just to reiterate, he doesn't catch the ball against Florida, you don't win the national championship.
No question about it.
Yeah. First game, thing is scorched. And
Wyatt Langford hitting the ball 114 miles an hour, and I didn't even know he could jump that high. Thank God he can't.
And I told you what he said after the game. It's a fly ball. We practice it. We caught it. No big deal. It's just kind of. You said the heartbeat is 50 all the time.
58. Never gets above 58.
Derek Curiel, I joked with Pearson early in the year. Does this guy even know he's playing at LSU, right? 345 batting average as a freshman, just goes out there. Very big, brought home 2 runs in the game 2.
Huge hit.
Yeah. And, I don't want to get in trouble talking about religion, but a lot of people like the fact he's outspoken about his faith, and it's a big thing to him and everything.
Yeah, 100%. And it accentuates itself in his character. It's a guy that thinks of his teammates first, and often values are really, really high. And you have championship seasons when you have guys like Derek that are your best players that are also high character and high caliber people. And that's all he's been, since he's been here, and had a tremendous season this year.
Speaking of other freshmen, Kason Evans. So if we go back to Monday night when you're losing 5-1 to Little Rock, if he comes in and gets shelled and you're down 10-1, we're not sitting here talking about this today.
No doubt. Matter of fact, he came in when it was 3-1, and they kind of dunked in another 2-run single, I believe. And there was first and second, 1 or 2 outs. And I went out to the mound for the second time already in the game, and I believe it was only the 3rd inning at that point in time. And I was literally like, hey, look, it doesn't feel like this is going our way. Like, don't get trapped into that. We're going to score. You guys are going to take good at bats, like looking at the infielders, right? Yes. So I just need you to stay poised, stay pitch to pitch, leave that guy on second base. If you leave that guy on second base, I promise you we're going to win this game. And he got out of it. And then we loaded the bases, didn't score in the bottom of the next inning, but then we did load the bases, got it to 5-4, got it to 5-5. Got it to 6-5, and really proud of the team for fighting back in that game. I told them after the game that night that was one of the best wins of my entire career, and I'll probably stand by that forever.
Yeah. And then he comes in against UCLA in the World Series, and once again gives you 4 innings that were pivotal.
Yeah, and going back to the Little Rock thing, that's one of the best performances I've ever seen from the pitcher's mound. Didn't he strike out like 9 in a row that night or something?
That's right.
Complete domination, and then getting to that 2-0 spot, in any regional or bracket play in Omaha is such a big deal. And we're up 5-3, and we're kind of talking about who we're going to, and I was like, number 20 is going in the game, and it's his game until it's not his game, and he delivered again. He's a special player, special pitcher, special competitor, front line of LSU baseball, for the next couple of years.
Well, your pitching coach, Nate Yetzke, after the game, I think he pointed World Series, West Virginia, Super Regional, excuse me. He's pointed up the stands like, this is why you want to play here.
Yep.
Play at home.
Yep.
And history is history. Whether you're the head coach, Skip,
yep,
Maneri, Smoke, LSU, every World Series outside of 1989 has been launched from Ellick Box Stadium.
Yep. I like doing things first sometimes, so trust me, there's nowhere I want to be more in the first and second weekend of June than the box. So we're going to keep that as plan A. But just in case we don't get to plan A, I'd love to change that and win a super regional on somebody else's field someday.
Yeah, you're not going to fold up the tent.
No, heck no. Absolutely.
We can't do this.
But you know what? To on the other end, at North Carolina, like in 24, that team played as good. Our team played as good as we possibly could play, and had it. We were one strike and one out away from beating them and coming back here for a super, and couldn't quite get it done. It's so hard to win on the road in the postseason.
Yeah. Your staff, I just mentioned Yeski. He's no stranger to national championships. Oregon State as well.
Yep. 4
Right.
trips to Omaha. Excuse me. I don't know how many trips to Omaha he has, but he's been to Omaha as the pitching coach at 4 different schools. Has to be the only pitching coach in college baseball history that's done that.
Wow.
Amazing pitching coach.
Yeah. What makes him, in street terms or easy explanation, what makes him a great pitching coach?
Terrific communicator. Very high bar on things that are controllable. Like if it is controllable, he expects the player to do it at an absolute elite level. And then all the technical things, calling a game, pitch delivery, pitch design, he's amazing. And good compliment with Jamie Tutko, our director of pitching development. And, myself with the mental game. And it's been a lot of fun to kind of make this the place to come pitch, and like whatever they call the DBU thing for LSU football. Right now, there's no better place to pitch in college baseball than LSU.
Yeah, Stephen Milam, I think he called it shortstop U because of Bregman. And,
Well, him too.
Yeah.
Now, what a stud. I'm so proud of the season that he had.
Yeah. And while we're talking about Yeski, Chase Shores became your hammer in these late innings. I mean, coming off a really tough injury, kind of had to stabilize himself. And when you needed him the most, he was blowing it by him.
Amazing. And so proud of him. He was the first, what I would call elite talent to commit to us when I took the job that, we had to really wrangle in. He was committed to another school, broke off, and then we had to beat all the big schools for him, and to get him here and finish off the super regional and then finish off Omaha. And there was a strategic decision behind having him finish it off, but on the emotional heartstrings part of it, to see him be the one get dogpiled on is pretty awesome.
Yeah. Josh Jordan, I'm sure he'll be a head coach one day. His name was floated around. He'll be back with you. And then you had Josh Simpson come back to you. He's the reason why you won 2 national titles.
Yeah, ask him. He is. I mean, it's two seasons at LSU, 2 national championships. So it must be all Coach Simpson. No, I love those guys. And sticking on Coach Jordan for a second, there's nobody that works harder in college baseball. He does such a good job at what he does. It has made me a better head coach, allowing me to focus on really, really integral things for our team in the moment, and knowing that I have somebody that can cover a lot of other areas that maybe I've always had to cover until Coach Jordan got here. And then Coach Simpson, great job with the player relationships, just always positive. And we have a great synergy as a staff, and I'm proud of our coaching staff very much.
And I want to give a quick shout out to our friend Patrick Coogan, who is a great pitcher at LSU, part of 2 national championships in the late 90s. He jokes that Warren Morris's home run flipped him from being the losing pitcher to the winning pitcher.
There you go.
In 96. But his son is he's a trainer.
Yes, manager.
Manager, excuse me.
And does a great job. And it's really cool when you think about that, and legacy and the role that he played, in building of this dynasty or powerhouse, as they call it now. And to have his son working for us, who does a great job, and as do all our student managers. They were a little shell-shocked when I came in here the first year, and just a way different way of operating. And every year they just keep getting better and better, and a big part of what we do.
That name, the Powerhouse, that came along in 23, I think, right?
Yeah, before the 23 season, Cody Worsham, who has moved on to USC, very good friend of mine. I mean, absolute stud at what he does. Him and his creative team and marketing and branding, they just came up with it, and I was like, wow, that's pretty strong. Maybe a little arrogant, but I think we've backed it up okay.
I was about to say, yeah. At first, it's like, well, okay, the power. I mean, LSU baseball is LSU baseball.
Yeah.
But I was wondering who came up with that, and Cody is amazing. No, just real quick, my Twitter was stolen, hacked for 4 months. I couldn't get it back. Cody reached out to a couple people. I had it back like in 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah, he's awesome guy. That was a tough loss, and definitely gain for USC. We'll just blame him that USC knocked us off in football last year. It must have been because of Cody Worsham.
I'm looking at it too, and I went over this with you before. This year's team went 53-15, and your team from 2 years ago which I felt like 2 years ago, those guys were under the gun from like the get-go. It was like Omaha or bust, which I guess you could say every year, but it was kind of like Skeens and Dylan Cruz and Trey Morgan and all these guys. I mean, there was a lot of pressure on those guys, but basically you finished with the same record both years.
Yeah, and you're right about that. And, frankly, I had kind of put our own target on our back coming here. When I looked at the state of the program, I really believed in the second year we could compete for a national championship. Part of that was some previous history. We'd always made a big jump in our second year with a team, or make a big jump in our second year with players. And I knew we were going to have a lot of those guys for 2 years. Some things lined up with Dugas and Beloso coming back. Obviously we needed to add real pitching. We were able to do that with Paul Skeens, Thatcher Hurd, and those guys delivered, in Omaha. But yeah, it was the expectation, And the other part was, it had been 6 years prior since LSU had been in Omaha. Mm-hmm. And so I think there was maybe a little angst, unrest, whatever you want to call it. And as a coach, you think it's really not that long. You know what I mean? Because it's so hard to get there.
Yeah.
But when you look at, somebody says like 20 trips in 40 years and obviously 8 national championships, I don't take it for granted. I know how difficult it is, but I think that kind of played into that too. And then they just went out and delivered. And then this year, only 12 returning players, but it was the right 12 is what I call them. They just took the bull by the horns, and we were about as consistent as you could ever hope a college baseball team could be. It doesn't mean we were the best of all time. We were the best team this year. We were the national champions and the best team this year because it was a very consistent and steady performance.
Well, and I think a lot of your players, and I guess it is the same thing, but a lot of your players say it's about the team who's playing the best.
That's exactly right. It makes me know they're listening if they're telling that to you.
Because some people looked at Arkansas on paper and said, this is their year. Van Horn, he's got to win one. I think it's this time around, but this is the team that plays the best.
Well, they were the most talented team in the country this year, and I have immense respect for Arkansas. But we had really good players too, and I think I've kind of tried to dispel the narrative. Like Kate Anderson's going to be in the major leagues within 18 months. Chase Shores is a big leaguer. Anthony Ionson's a big leaguer. Jared Jones is a big leaguer. Danny Dickinson's a big leaguer. Stephen Milam, Derek Curiel, on and on and on and on.
Yeah,
I think with a new dynamic of college baseball, you just don't quite have as many of those 3-year guys anymore. Like Cade, it's 2 years because he's a draft eligible sophomore and he moves on. So maybe you just don't have those older players that have been around forever as much, but this was a special team.
Ryan Terrio sat right there and said, Daniel Dickinson, 10-year major leaguer.
Well, if anybody would know, it'd be Ryan at that position. So, Danny's toughness, man. He played the whole NCAA tournament with a broken hamate bone. He had 2 homers in the first game, and then he didn't tell me the second game against Dallas Baptist, and he came in the third game. It's like, as long as you think I'm better than whatever the next option is, I'm going to keep going out there. But we had to work and maneuver some at-bats and some things in the game, and super proud of him. What a winner. And it would not surprise me at all for Danny to be a 10-year big leaguer.
The Warren Morris injury, the same
injury.
Same injury,
yep.
Yeah. And so why is he bunting? Well, laid down some good ones.
Big ones.
Too.
Yeah, the one against Arkansas might have been the hit of the tournament that set up that 3-run inning in the very first game.
Yeah. A few more things with you. I appreciate your time. So Bill Franques joked that when Skip won his first one, there's some guy screaming from the stands 15 minutes, "Are you going to do it again next year, Skip?" This is the first one in the history of the
program.
Right. They were kind of nothing before you got there. But you and I are both the same age, which I'll get to in a second. But the Dallas Cowboys were considered a dynasty. They won 3 championships in 4 years. You'll have that opportunity next year to be a dynasty.
Sounds awesome to me. My job and what I'd like to think my strength is taking all of that and put it in its proper place, up on the wall or up in the cabinet, and then go to work on execution. And I joke with some of our local media, you can't write an article about preparation or execution, but you should be able to about championships. But they only happen because of preparation and execution.
I think somebody one time said winning is boring, meaning not celebrating.
Yeah.
But the things you do to win.
Yeah. And it's so hard to stay disciplined and stay the course in those things. And not everybody can do it. It's why I'm so proud of this team. They did it literally every day of our time together this year.
All right. Before I let you go, so we're both kids of the 80s. So I want to bounce. This is some pop culture stuff that's either going to soar or it's going to crash.
Okay.
So we'll see how
Probably
it goes.
gonna crash.
This is called I Love the 80s with Jay Johnson. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Rocky 3 or Rocky 4?
Rocky 4 in a landslide. Don't get me wrong. I love it when he came back and beat Mr. T, but I'll take down Drago all day long.
Take it down in the Soviet Union on Christmas Day.
Oh yeah, I was in the theater on Christmas Day when that came out. I must have been, what year was it? 87?
85, I
85,
think.
so 8 years old. I remember going to the movies and watching Rocky beat Drago.
What's that scene at the end? If I can change, God, and you can change.
Everybody
right?
can change.
Yeah, I think you said the soundtrack too, right?
Oh, yeah.
No, Easy
It's-
Way Out, Survivor, The Burning Heart.
It's still on my running on the treadmill playlist.
Is that right?
That's true.
There's a guy named Peter Diakowski who played football at LSU from Canada who loved that soundtrack.
Yep.
All right, here's the dirty one. This is the one, like, how can you ask that? Michael Jackson or Prince?
Wow. Both unbelievable artists. I think if I remember being a kid, I think a little more Michael Jackson, like Thriller, maybe.
Yeah.
But then you got Purple Rain over here with Prince. So, I mean.
What you're wearing, purple?
Purple.
Yeah.
So, there you go. There's your answer. Break the tie.
Easy, right? Purple, the color of royalty. Yeah, Mike might have had more hits because he was more pop but Prince, guitar. I mean, he was a virtuoso, could play drums, wrote all these hit songs for other people too. So, all right. So in the 80s, Boston Celtics or LA Lakers?
LA Lakers, Magic Johnson all day long. No look passes, James Worthy, Kareem Skyhook. Larry Bird, superstar though. Those were the teams.
Back to the purple and gold.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah. Individually, Magic and Bird, you Magic guy?
Magic, yeah. Like I said, being on the West Coast and, like I said, the style of play, played a little point guard growing up, so I tried to emulate the passing of Magic Johnson.
I know he's a great player, but, man, Kevin McHale, hated that guy.
Was not a fan of Kevin McHale. Dirty player.
Yeah, him and Bill Lambier.
Yep.
All right, so which movie franchise do you keep? Star Wars, Karate Kid, or Back to the Future?
Karate Kid 1 and Karate Kid 3.
You like the third one?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Against when he's back in the tournament,
That's right,
and
yes.
he hits him like just one time to win.
The final match was a little anticlimactic, but yeah, I'll go Karate Kid 1 and Karate Kid 3.
Did you watch any of Cobra Kai?
I have not delved into that. Yeah.
They bring all these guys back.
No
it's
kidding.
great. Yeah,
Okay.
including that guy. Was it Barnes?
Mike Barnes. That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Your karate's crap.
Yep.
All right, who's your favorite 80s diva? Madonna, Janet Jackson, or Whitney Houston?
We'll go Whitney Houston.
Best voice in the history of our planet, I think.
National anthem,
Yes.
Super Bowl. Yeah, we'll go Whitney Houston.
Yeah, which was pre-recorded. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah. Well, we'll pretend like it's
Does
not.
that kind of
but-
ruin it? Or
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
It doesn't. But unnecessary because
Okay, yeah.
she could
Yeah,
do
she
anything.
nail it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Great voice. All right, I wrote this down. I really don't know. I was just Googling stuff from the 80s. 1986 New York Mets, which I do know about. 1984 Detroit Tigers.
I'm going to go 84 Detroit Tigers. Great middle infield. Lou Whitaker, Alan Trammell. First baseman was Darrell Evans. Kirk Gibson.
Yeah.
Chet Lemon.
Yeah.
Great team. One of the best teams in Major League Baseball history, actually.
Did you feel bad for
Bill Buckner?
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Because he was he was a solid player through
Great
his whole
player.
career. Remembered for one thing.
Yes, one thing. And that's really, really tough. Now, you would have to say that series, greatest series, 7 games, they won on a crazy play like that. But
Famous call, right? And the ball gets through Buckner.
Vin Scully?
Vince Scully, yeah. The 1986 New York Mets. All right, Bon Jovi or Journey?
Journey.
Don't Stop Believing.
Yeah,
Steve Perry.
Both great.
Yeah.
Both of them are on my treadmill soundtrack.
Perfect. All right, I love both of them. That's a little softer, sweeter. Motley Crue or Guns N' Roses?
Guns N' Roses.
Guns N' Roses.
A little more familiar.
The first album, Appetite for Destruction.
Yeah, there you go.
Paradise City.
Yeah.
All right, movies. Goodfellas or Scarface?
Scarface.
No, just like that,
Just
huh?
like that, yeah.
It's a little dated with the 80s.
Yeah, 100%.
But
a little bloodier. You know?
All right, and here's the Jacques Doucet question, of course, to finish off. Better in Van Halen, David Lee Roth or Sammy Hagar?
Ooh. I can't. I wouldn't even be able to answer that one.
Okay, don't know enough about it?
Don't know enough about it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I know the names, but I'm not going to just throw it out there to throw it out.
To throw it out. Well, I respect that. I respect that. All right, anything else we should know about Jay Johnson and the Tigers before we let you go?
Just very thankful to be here and very proud of our team. National champs 2 out of the last 3 years. Pretty awesome.
Congratulations.
All right. Thanks, Josh.
You deserve it.
Thank you.
All right, Jay Johnson, LSU head baseball coach. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you later.